Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of March 12th, 2026, including Xbox has revealed the first details of their next-generation console, Project Helix. During GDC this week, we learned more about this next-generation approach to Xbox game development, as well as gaming preservation. Remember Minecraft Dungeons? Well, rumors suggest it's getting a sequel. All that and more. On this week in Xbox history, in the year 2010, 16 years ago, Battlefield Bad Company 2 was released for the Xbox 360. Oh boy. Now, of course, I'm a little high on Battlefield right now. I love Battlefield 6. I know I've been, even as the attention on that game starts to wane, we'll talk about it a little bit this week, and people start to kind of fall out of love with it. They've had their fix. They're moving on to new games. What's the fucking, not Marathon, the other one, Arc Raiders, took a lot of the thunder. People love it. Great. I'm still all over this like honeymoon phase of Battlefield 6. Really kind of fell back into the rabbit hole of Battlefield. And I got to be honest, man, if I'm always looking back and thinking about the best of the best for me, for people my age, my generation, where I came from, the way it was, it doesn't get better than Battlefield Bad Company 2, man. That game is just so special. Now, I think Bad Company 1 has the better campaign. I think Bad Company 1 has a better tone, but Bad Company 2 has way better gameplay, way better maps, way bigger improvements, so much good shit. I mean, it's and here's the thing. It's like you go back and you play Bad Company 2. Is it as good as you remember? No, of course not. Are the new games like a massive step forward in most regards? Of course they are. But man, dude, Bad Company 2, if it's 2010 and you're playing Bad Company 2 on Xbox Live, let me just put it this way. You're having a good time. There's no doubt about it. You might be having a bad match or two, but you're having overall a really good time. Are you having as good a time when you play fucking, what do you kids play today? Arc Raiders? Black Ops 7? Fortnite? No, you're not. And it's not because everyone can just kind of, teach their own and enjoy what you enjoy. No, it's because it's an objective truth, man. Bad Company 2 was so good that if you don't agree with me, you're now officially autism. Try to think of a more politically correct thing to say. Stalled, still said autism. Guys, welcome to the Xbox On podcast, episode 354. Lots of Xbox stuff to talk about. Just after the show went live last week, as many of you probably already know, they started talking about this Project Helix. It's good. You take the Xbox and the PC, and you cross the DNA strand. You get this Helix. It's a very clever project name. We'll get into all that in just a little bit here. We're actually going to move right into it. But before we do, I'm going to touch on everything this week because we got good games coming out this week. We got good news to talk about. I've been eating some good-ass shit. I've been playing some good-ass video games. And honestly, really the weakest part of this week's episode are the listener comments. So if I'm going to be honest, guys, it's all of you that could have stepped it up this week. Saber Interactive, they showed up when they released John Carpenter's Toxic Commando this week. Xbox stepped up when they talked about Project Helix and did that presentation at GDC this week. I stepped it up when I played Resident Evil Requiem and ate the McDonald's Arch this week. But did you step it up and leave a really good, compelling, open-ended question that provided lots of discussion to be had? No. I'm just going to say, honestly, I don't think you did. So for next week's podcast, if I'm still doing my job right and Xbox is still doing their job right, I would just ask that maybe you put a little more effort into making this show better for me by asking more questions, better questions, stronger questions, faster questions, questions that don't waste time having sex. I'm talking about questions that come in 2 seconds, questions that can run a marathon in 20 seconds. How do they do it? Well, because they quit at the starting line. As soon as everyone gets bored of watching, they divert the other way and they quit, and then they just meet you on the other side and they go, yeah, I finished 20 minutes ago. People who are savvy, people who are respectful, people who are witty, people who know how to solve math problems they learned how to solve in sophomore year of high school, but now they're 37 and they still can solve these problems because they're smart and they did their homework and they said, let me remember this because I'm not the kid that asked the teacher, when am I going to use this in the adult world? You're not going to be that snarky, smart-ass student. You're going to be the kid that goes, I don't know when I'm going to use this, but it's better to have the knowledge and not need it than to not have it at all. So you take that knowledge and you study it every day. And yeah, there are times when you're in your 20s and your friends are out drinking and partying and hanging out and meeting girls. And what are you doing? You're studying up on that math test that you took 7 years ago in high school because you don't want to risk losing that knowledge. That's the kind of person you are. So I ask you in the comments section, what kind of person are you? Leave better comments. Respectfully, welcome to Xbox On Podcast. You guys, it's a show where I think there's a lot of mutual respect between me and the audience, and I just want to show you that respect by jumping into the news this week because there's so much to get into. But before we do that, let's quickly talk about a couple games coming out this week that are of severe note. Let's talk about the two I don't give a shit about first of all. WWE 2K26. I know a lot of you guys love wrestling. Wrestling's popular because there's the guys that win and the guys that lose, and everybody loves a winner and everybody hates a loser. But there's another one coming out. It's called WWE 2K26, and it's available on Xbox Series consoles, PC, Switch 2, PlayStation 5, March 13, 2026. Everything I just named is an Xbox, including March 13th, so feel free to play it on whatever platform you choose. Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflections. I didn't even know there was a Monster Hunter Stories 2, but that's out this week. I didn't realize these games were actually on PlayStation and Xbox. I thought these games were only on Switch and PC, so that's actually new information to me. But if you're someone who likes Monster Hunter Stories, which I think is just Monster Hunter, but with like story content, I don't fucking know. I used to play Monster Hunter, and now I'm so out of the loop on that franchise. But Monster Hunter Stories 3 is out. Okay. Let's get into some bigger ones. Greedfall: The Dying World is out. I don't know anything about this game other than I saw the trailer at, what was that, the Game Awards a few years ago? And I know people are actually like pretty into this game. Like apparently like it's a hotly anticipated game. I don't know. I'm assuming that this is the kind of game where I'm going to write it off because it doesn't look interesting to me. And then in the next 2 weeks, it's going to blow up and be super popular and everyone's going to be obsessed with it. And then I'll know a lot about it because the world is going to be very interested in it. It's going to be that next game that we talk about for the next 4 or 5 months on and off because everyone's into it except for me because I'm too stupid to see what's special about the game. But good for you guys. Good for you that you enjoy Elden Ring. Good for you guys that you love Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Good for you. I'm going to be playing this last game that came out this week that I'm really excited to talk to you about, which is John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. Yes, you've heard of toxic relationships. You've heard of toxic ooze. Now get ready for Toxic Commando. I don't know shit about John Carpenter other than he's a horror movie director, and because my older brother and my little brother are both big horror fans, and all my life are like, I love The Thing. And then, I grew up, and then, of course, I moved to Orlando, Florida, where everyone loves horror. And so I know John Carpenter's name. He's like, it's like how I assume most Americans are with like politicians' names that aren't the president of the United States, where it's like, I hear the name Pam Bondi, but I don't actually know who that is. I just know I voted on egg prices last year. I assume that's kind of how I feel about John Carpenter, how most people feel about these things, where it's like, I don't know who John Carpenter is, but his Commando is so toxic. And the reason we got to talk about this is because this guy's name, in it or out of it, who gives a shit? The game just looks so fucking badass. It's weird because it's a new game from Saber Interactive. Focus Entertainment is the publisher. And dude, that combination is iconic at this point, honestly. Focus Entertainment is real good at being like, hey, let's find like good European games that are like AA gems and just put them out there while Sony, flirts with bankruptcy over like $600 million Last of Us games that are just going to get toxic review bombs online. Toxic Commando looks so good because it kind of looks like Left 4 Dead, but the thing is, people who've played it don't really liken it to Left 4 Dead all that much. I keep seeing comparisons where people are talking about more in the vein of Space Marines 2, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which makes no sense, but maybe, I don't know. People talk about it in regard to like World War Z, which, to be fair, Saber also made World War Z, so... But this looks more like Left 4 Dead. As a layman just watching trailers, I don't know. It looks like Left 4 Dead. In either case, this game is out the day this podcast goes live. I already have it pre-ordered, downloaded, ready to go on Steam. That's right, not Xbox, Steam, because I'm a fucking PC gaming defect at this point. But I am so excited to play this game tomorrow. I'm leaving work a little early. I'm coming home, and I'm gonna fucking dive into this shit because it looks real good. And you guys know I'm always waiting for my next killer first person shooting zombie game. So man, if this game can nail it all, the gameplay, the loop, the replayability, the tone and the ambiance and the vibe, if they can get, I'm not saying try to create Left 4 Dead again. You don't have to do that. Left 4 Dead can be its own thing. We can make other games. But if you can capture things in this game that made Left 4 Dead special, which is just a fun, cooperative zombie shooting game, which is less like, oh, we got to work cooperatively and really put our brains together, and a little more just like, I like this gun, it goes boom in the way I like, let's shoot zombies until we can progress to the next room, then I will be happy. I really hope this game is good. Very, very much looking forward to it. Anyway, guys, that's it for the notable game releases. We'll talk about that next week, because you can bet your sweet fucking ass I'm going to be playing Toxic Commando this weekend, so we'll talk about it on next week's show. But until then, let's kick off with the news, because there's tons of it. So yeah, like I said earlier, right after the show went live last week, Xbox is like, here's Project Helix. So Asha Sharma is following the footsteps of Xbox's past, which is just talking way too much and always saying things on Twitter, and just revealing too much all the time, and just not shutting the fuck up. So here we go. Xbox is going to remain consistent with the verbose communication to fans on social media, and with that comes other news stories and then some GDC stuff we'll talk about. So let's kind of roll these all into a couple stories from VGC and Windows Central and Verge and all these other outlets that I pulled from to put this together. So here we go. Microsoft has confirmed that its next-gen gaming console is codenamed Project Helix, and and the device will run both Xbox and PC games. Last Thursday, Microsoft Gaming Division shared a short teaser video on social media revealing the Project Helix logo, which, spoiler alert, just looks kind of like generic modern brand logo shit. There's nothing like super cool about it, but it's it's exciting nonetheless, because hey, new Xbox logo, or new Xbox Project logo. Yeah, anyway, in a separate message, new gaming CEO Asha Sharma said that she would be meeting with developers to discuss the new console at GDC next week. Fast forward, it's this week now. Sorry, this article was written last week. Project Helix, quote, will lead in performance and play your Xbox and PC games. Looking forward to chatting about it more with our partners and with studios at my first GDC next week. That's what Asha said online. It'll be the first time Microsoft has explicitly confirmed that the next gen console will be this hybrid PC device, though it's been expected for some time, based on Moore's Law is Dead, popular YouTuber who has reported on this device plenty of times, based on things Sarah Bond has hinted in past months, in recent months. Also, speaking of Moore's Law is Dead over on YouTube, this guy is a popular YouTuber who does lots of reporting on video game hardware and has a really good track record. And he is saying that, based on what he understands the hardware to be and where Xbox could come in cost-wise on this stuff, that if they want to be pretty competitive and aggressive, this thing could be priced between $1,000 and $1,200, which, take it with a grain of salt, but this guy's got a pretty good track record and is pretty knowledgeable on these things. So assuming Xbox isn't trying to sell these at a loss or make a healthy profit off them, they're just trying to sell them in the way that most consoles have traditionally been sold, which is you sell it at a slight margin. Somewhere in the $1,000 to $1,200 range seems appropriate, at least with current conditions, for this device next year when it's released in 27 or 28, probably 27. That being said, that would be a pretty decent deal compared to what I've been expecting, because my estimation for this device, having no information, no knowledge, no experience whatsoever, just going off pure vibes and things like that, has been that this device would probably run in the $1,200 to $1,500 range. So it sounds like if they do come in at this price point that Moore's Law is Dead's talking about, that would actually be a little bit more of a reasonable price than what I had initially thought. And I can't believe we're saying $1,200 could be a more reasonable cost, but here we are. Yeah, in his live stream where he was talking about this, Moore's Law is Dead, he says that basically he's expecting the silicon to be similar to AMD's 97 XT graphics card, and that the continued RAM pricing issues will affect the total cost of the device. So just keep in mind that's some of the stuff he was going off of when he came up with these numbers. But anyway, we don't have to dwell on that too much, because I just feel like that was just an interesting I don't know, a good like reference point or frame of mind to kind of keep yourself in as we talk about this, because I feel like there is still this subset of Xbox players that are on the fringe where it's like they either for some reason think that they're going to get competitive and get this device down to like $500, which is like just not going to happen, or there's these people who like just think this is like complete doom and gloom and that this device will be like $2,000 or something. That being said, I still think if you put a video game console on the market for $1,200, that is kind of gloom and doom, because it doesn't fucking matter if it's a PC and an Xbox. If PlayStation's new console is $500 and yours is $1,200, guess who's going to win? But in Xbox's defense, when PlayStation came in with the $500 device and Xbox came in with the $300 device, guess who still fucking won? So I guess nothing really matters, and you might as well just do what you're going to do and not really worry about how it compares to PlayStation, because at this fucking point, let's be honest, these are not two competitors. These are just two completely different fucking people, you know? So anyway, let's move on to the GDC stuff, because normally this is something we would have dwelled on for a minute. Like, I guess we could talk about the Helix thing for a second. Like, yeah, Microsoft is confirming the thing we already knew, but it wasn't technically confirmed. So, like, this isn't, like, super shocking. The Helix logo is probably an homage to the fact that it's, like, this twist, this cross between console and PC. And then early reports suggest that Helix is a code name or a project name that's been in the works for like 15 years at Microsoft, where there's always been these initiatives on and off throughout the time to try and crossbreed or pollinate the Xbox brand more and more with Windows PC. So this is like a newer envisionment, a newer attempt at this concept that's been floating around for 15 years. If that's the case, I mean, that's kind of cool. It does seem like they're trying to pursue a vision that's always been there. And it's just, you know, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I just can't really get excited about Helix, because at the end of the day, I can't help but feel like this device makes no sense, even though it sounds cool and it's something that I want to be excited about. I just can't get behind it. And we can talk more about that in a minute, but in the meantime, let's talk about what all just happened as of the day I'm recording this, which is March 11th, the day that these GDC talks took place. So, actually, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we get to that, let's expand, because Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, sat down with Asha Sharma for an internal Q&A with the Xbox team. This was last week. During their sit-down discussion, he reassured staff that and addressed what many see as the elephant in the room, which is how Microsoft is currently approaching gaming. While it may sound like corporate speak, his comments were largely positive. Now, this is all pulled from Windows Central. This is their translation and write-up of it. So we're going to pull these quotes in this write-up from Windows Central and kind of go through this this discussion between Satya Nadella and Asha Sharma. Then we'll get into the GDC stuff about the Xbox Helix. So, all right, let's start out here. So, while here we go. This is basically Satya Nadella's opening remarks in the discussion. He says, "There are core identities in this company," talking about Microsoft. "I don't think it would exist without these identities continuing to thrive. We're a platform company," you think of Windows. "We're a developer company," you think of developers developing programs like Word and Office and shit. "Being a knowledge worker company." And gaming, being a knowledge worker company. Whatever. Anyway, it's just nonsensical corporate speak. But these are their four areas, right? And he says, "These are the main identities of what Microsoft has always meant, what it will always mean. Therefore, we need to take that. We don't take it for granted. We need to take that. We don't take it for granted. We need to renew it. And I'm really thankful to Matt Booty, Phil Spencer, and Sarah Bond, and all of you who have built this franchise into its 25th year," referring to Xbox as a franchise, and also paying respect to Phil and Sarah, which is cool. Sharma kicked off. I'm combining two sentences here. Sharma asked him to elaborate on that point, to which he says, "Frankly, this applies to anything that we do. We would be in the core of what we do here for gaming's sake. It's about anything. It's not about anything other than being just an excellent company and an excellent steward for what it means to produce great games, produce great systems and hardware. Nadella emphasized gaming's legacy and influence on the Microsoft's wider technology stack. So let's stop here, because what he says next is like the big thing I want to highlight. But just going into this again, it's like, listen, I don't mean to be so doom and gloom all the time, but like, listen, man, you got the CEO of Microsoft saying, at the core of what we do, it's about being an excellent company, being excellent stewards. So it's like, okay, well, you have Windows, which is a thing that people considered excellent during Windows XP. People considered excellent during Windows 7. People considered excellent during, generally speaking, during a lot of Windows 10. People don't consider Windows to be excellent right now during Windows 11. So clearly that's not it, because people hate the shoehorning of Copilot and bloatware into Windows. So I don't know how you could say that about yourself with one of your biggest products there. All right. Anyway, it's about being excellent stewards. They say, well, you're taking every program you have, watering them down, and shoving a Copilot into everything. Surface has become incredibly stagnant and stale. Programs like OneNote have basically fallen apart completely. Microsoft Edge is lacking updates in modern support. And then you're just cramming Copilot into all these apps in hopes that like touting AI is going to fix stuff or make things new again. And so it just doesn't seem like you really practice what you preach. So saying that while prefacing what gaming means to you doesn't make me feel good, because Microsoft is a brand that I currently, and I think a lot of people currently, associate with lies and greed and deceitfulness and selfishness and just not being trustworthy or reliable in any way. So anyway, with that said, here's Satya Nadella basically recommitting to video games, but I find it hard to take him seriously, because this man's not really done the things he's saying he's done, or he's not really done the things he's saying that he's committed to doing. Let's put it that way. So anyway, he reemphasizes his gaming's legacy and influence on Microsoft and wider technological stack. So what she says, quote, "The trickle from that excellence to the rest of the company becomes straightforward. I joke with the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang, if it wasn't for NVIDIA or for gaming, NVIDIA wouldn't exist. Think about it. Without DirectX, I don't think that the entire GPU revolution or the acceleration would have happened. That's why I'm long on it. Phil, he's always talked to me about how gaming is the largest entertainment category. What is gaming in its most expensive form going forward? This doesn't mean that we walk away from people and what they're doing today. When we think about AAA games on a console, the question is about where else can we go to extend that. For me, we're long on gaming. We'll continue to invest. We'll always do so. It's up to the team to show an excellence in execution and creativity. Software always carries risk, but this software with lots of creation risk, this is software with lots of creation risk. It's way different, but yeah, we have to be best in class at it. Well, here's the thing. You're not best in class at it, many would say. In fact, you're one of the worst, because Nintendo's seen as better than you. PlayStation's seen as better than you. I'm not saying this is what I think, but I'm saying this is how you're viewed and how you're treated. I would say Take-Two is seen as better than you with Rockstar and NBA and all this stuff. There's a lot of other companies that are seen as better than you at this stuff. So you're wrong there. And then you think about it. He's saying we're long on gaming, but he's not committing to hardware. He's not committing to a closed wall garden for Xbox. He's just committing to gaming and then expanding that, which basically means, bringing our games and bringing our software to the places they need to be to thrive and be excellent, which is PlayStation, which is Switch, which is PC, which is anything other than just plain old Xbox. So Xbox CEO Asha Sharma, we'll come back to this. So I want to highlight this because it's kind of the crux of everything. It all pulls back to this. So Asha Sharma discussed the time that she'd been spending with Xbox's different teams and talked about Microsoft's long-term legacy as a software company. She's emphasizing the great games and how they can't be manufactured in a way, but instead need to be crafted by humans, which is laughable coming from the AI person. But she says, I'm spending a lot of time thinking about how I can empower these worlds, these stories, and these characters. Asking Satya Nadella for his thoughts on Microsoft's responsibility as a company to protect the Xbox fan base. I don't think Xbox has any responsibility to protect the fan base. I think there's a little bit of an onus to do right by their fans by not selling them a paperweight, which is kind of what Xbox hardware has become. But I don't think there's a responsibility for them to protect the Xbox fan base. Or maybe it's just a more dramatic way of saying what I just said. But anyway, she says, quote, he says, this is Satya responding to her. He says, quote, the storytelling. Why do we love games? They tell the stories, the mythologies that make us who we are, getting down to the core, the craft that goes with it, and the place, and this is the place where we have to get the cultural zeitgeist and then have to manifest it in everything that we do, in the games, in the marketing approach, everything that we do in the brand itself. He says that he hoped that parts of Microsoft could eventually learn from Xbox. He said Xbox is its best, at its best, lifts the entire company. Owing to its consumer-facing nature, he told anecdotes about how some of Microsoft's bread-and-butter, high-power enterprise customers often want to meet him specifically because they're Xbox customers at home, not just because they're in enterprise. Gaming emotionally touches us, he said, saying we want an aspect of Microsoft to exist always. So basically what that reads to me is, yeah, we're a huge company and we're everywhere because companies have to interact with Windows. They have to interact with Outlook. They have to interact with Copilot or Edge or fucking, whatever. We have products that customers can't get away from. Nobody's passionate about Microsoft Teams. Their job forces them to fucking engage with it. Nobody wants to be on LinkedIn, but this is the world we live in. Microsoft is a company that has potential to do fun and interesting things, but most of their success is born out of necessity or need to use their things. Azure Cloud Solutions, AI Copilot, all this shit. It's need over want in most cases. So where does Xbox leave them? Well, it's the one fucking thing they own that is actually fun. It's entertainment. And even though work makes the world go around, it makes things profitable, it makes people money, it makes people pay their bills and keep their lights on and feed their fat babies, entertainment and art is the thing that inspires and feeds the human soul. We all know that. It's why people have so much more respect for the actor than the software engineer. It's why people are so much more interested in the guy who makes a living as a YouTuber than the guy who makes 3 times the money of a YouTuber but has some boring ass job for a corporation. You don't care about doing a job. You don't care about living in a house you could never afford to live in. It's because people value art, they value creativity, and they value the fame and recognition and status that comes with that intangible it factor of being someone who matters, quote unquote, right? And the thing is, Microsoft has had these blips throughout their history where they've been that company. Zune was cool despite the fact that, people want to rag on it. It's like it was a cool device. Windows phones were fucking awesome. Everyone has a deep personal, emotional attachment to their phones, right? But Microsoft got rid of theirs. Surface exists, but Microsoft likes to treat it like dog shit and just make generic MacBook ripoffs at this point instead of making interesting devices because they're boring as shit and Xbox is all they have left. Of course, people come up to Satya Nadella and say, hey, I'm a huge fan of Xbox, because nobody goes home and is passionate about LinkedIn, but people go home and they're passionate about Halo and Forza and hanging out with their friends over Xbox Live. Game Pass, Xbox Network. People are excited about the Indiana Jones game that made them feel like a kid again, or exploring the stars in Starfield, but nobody's fucking excited about your goddamn file explorer that now has AI shoehorned into it that's begging you to take photos of your fucking coworkers and take their nudes off, take their fucking boots off their legs because you work with cowboys. We know that. We know you work with cowboys and you like feet. So you're going to make all your cowboy friends have feet exposed. We know that's what you do with your Microsoft, but nobody cares about that. We just want Master Chief. So I think it's like, I don't know, Satya's trying to say something like profound, but like, to me, as someone who's just jaded and tired and really fucking hates Satya and really hates what Microsoft has done in recent years with what was left of their fun brands and their fun ideas and their creative people that they've driven out the company and pushed out the company, it's like the way this reads to me is we've kind of fucking killed everything people gave a shit about with us. Windows is boring now. It's a Mac. It's a Mac OS knockoff. Copilot is lame and everybody fucking hates us for it. Azure is lame as shit, but it makes us a ton of money and nobody cares about it. Teams is the bane of everyone's existence, as is LinkedIn and Outlook. People kind of hate Windows in its current form. We killed Windows Phone. Panos Panay is gone and Surface hasn't been interesting in 5 years. Xbox exists, but we're kind of fucking that up too by putting our games on PlayStation and giving you no reason to support this platform. But it is the closest thing we have to a consumer brand. So I guess we really ought to care about Xbox. The thing is, I don't know. He talked about these 4 pillars. Who gives a shit? Let's assume / break them down to what they are. They got pillars, which is like services, right? Office 365, Azure, Copilot, whatever, right? That's a core pillar. They've got software, right? They've got fucking Office and Windows and shit like that. And they're a software company at the end of the day. That's what Microsoft's always been. Okay, that's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3 is, I don't know, fucking being a rich, powerful company that has no regard for what you do in the world. I don't know. And pillar 4 is, hey, we make video games. This is the pillar that we need, not because it's profitable, but because it makes people like us. It gives us goodwill with the general public. It makes people think less about us being horrible. Think about it. That's all Xbox has been for the past 25 years. It's the brand that makes Xbox not look completely fucking lame. That's kind of why they're around, right? And that's really all I read with what Sachi is saying is like, hey, we're going to stick to gaming because gaming is super cool. And it seems to be the only thing anyone thinks we're cool for doing. So I don't want to give that up. Okay. All right, let's go on. So Asha Sharma acknowledges that Xbox's difficulties as of late. She says that gaming had been in a transition phase and that everything is being relitigated. In regard to Xbox's strategy, they discussed where gaming will go over the next phase of its life. But Satya Nadella cautioned that Xbox can't lose sight of what it already has. He says, quote, "We have to make sure that there are friends, that the friends we have today are the friends that you have tomorrow." This is the quote that keeps getting tossed around. That's so silly. "The friends you have today are the friends you have tomorrow," Satya said, of Xbox's existing customers. "You want to wake up feeling that your friendships has grown even stronger. We have to really make sure, whether it's console, PC, whether it's lover Forza or Halo, we really want to make sure that they love us for what they expect us to do." So they're not talking about you and your friends playing Xbox, engaging with Microsoft products and services, and feeling the love through these products and experiences. They're talking about how they want you as an Xbox fan to keep loving them and leaning on them and relying on them to be the company that you want and need them to be. He says, "I want us to keep rediscovering this moment. The games people love, the consoles and systems people love." Okay, the consoles and systems people love. That includes PlayStation, Switch. By the way, they're not talking about going exclusive again. And really just doing the best job we can as a company. That's it. And that's all I want us to do. Nadella said in closing, for those fans who have counted on us, I just want to make sure that we live up to what they expect of us. I know there's a lot of feedback. Believe me, I'm on Twitter too sometimes. But I really think it's passion, though, that they have. It's the base of folks who just want us to do a fantastic job of really doing what we're meant to do as Team Xbox. So, all right, basically what he's saying is we have this responsibility to the fans. We ought to be the company they want us to be. But this is that classic Xbox lip service. This is why I always gave Phil Spencer slack. It's because even though the guy was always speaking out of both sides of his mouth and putting his fucking foot in his mouth and all the analogies and things about mouths and feet, I think it's because Phil had a very emboldened, passionate vision for Xbox, something he and his team were trying to do. And then I think Microsoft had a different vision that they kept shoving down his throat and using him to, like operating that vision through him as like a vicarious vehicle of operations, whatever. I mean, that's, I guess, what he is. He was the boss. He was the lackey to the boss, the CEO in this case. So in any case, I think it's just worth noting that they're being vague. They're not doubling down on the specifics that you want to hear. What they're saying is, we know you're not happy. We know we've pissed you off. We know nobody's buying a goddamn Xbox. We know that Xbox hardware during the holiday period got outsold by that stupid fucking iToy device that people already forgot about. We know. But what we're doing is we're retreating. We're figuring our shit out. And we know the only way to do things right is to operate in a way that makes you, the Xbox diehard fans, happy. Things that you want, we need to act on and rely on. But at the same time, they're saying that vaguely while committing to nothing concrete. They're also saying, oh, we're going to be on the platforms you want us to be. We're going to have the games you want to see from us. We're going to make money and do the things and inspire other parts of Microsoft. So at the end of the day, they're basically just saying, fuck you. We're going to keep putting games on PlayStation. Game Pass ain't going nowhere. But we hear you. And maybe if we merge Xbox and PC together into one thing, maybe we can get you to like us. Okay. So let's I don't know, man. I don't mean to be, again, such a dick, but it's like I don't trust anything these fucking people say. And every time I see Xbox people getting excited on the internet and stuff, I'm like, dude, just remember, they always do this. They always overpromise and underdeliver. They always say things that make you feel good, like they're listening and they care, but they speak just vague enough that they're not actually committing to anything. They're just saying words. This is why I wish Xbox would shut up more, because I know these are all just words designed to make you feel better, but not promises that are going to result in concrete evidential change that is going to empirically improve your relationship and respect and appreciation and understanding of the Xbox ecosystem. This will not preserve the Xbox hardware in the way we want it to. Don't think of it like that, because it's just words right now. All right, now we fast forward to today, Wednesday the 11th. It's GDC, and Jason Ronald, the VP of Next Generation at Xbox, has a session called what is it called? I don't remember what they call. Anyway, but they have this Xbox session where he talks about Project Helix and how it's going to be powered by an AMD SoC with next-gen ray tracing performance. Okay, so according to Ronald, Helix will offer an order of magnitude increase in ray tracing performance capability beyond what's currently possible in the Xbox Series X and S. Development kits will be dispatched next year. This is important. He's saying developers will get access to this new device in 2027. They also say that the device will be like in an alpha mode in 2027. So if we're getting this device in 2027, it'll be like late 27. But honestly, that based on what we're hearing here, immediately this sounds like maybe this is a 2028 device. But anyway, according to Ronald, Helix will offer an order of magnitude increase in ray tracing. As previously confirmed, Microsoft's next console will be able to run PC games. Ronald told the GDC crowd that Microsoft believes player behaviors have changed and that the days of people defining themselves as console or PC or mobile gamers don't really exist anymore, which is funny because I definitely feel like I'm one of those people who identifies as one or the other, but maybe the younger people don't. The session went on to confirm that a new thing called Xbox mode, which is coming to Windows 11 beginning next month in April, and a further convergence of console and Windows gaming, adding features from the handheld Xbox Ally to PCs. Ronald also emphasized Microsoft's commitment to game preservation and teased the ability to play classic games in new ways later this year. So this is a huge thing people are picking up. Okay, so Xbox mode will basically take the Xbox big picture app mode and make it feel more immersive so that when you're using Xbox on your PC, it'll feel more like a console experience. This is the beginning of starting to marry together Windows and Xbox. We know the Xbox Ally has already been doing it for a while, and that most people who've actually used the device report that it's kind of a shitty experience, but hey, it's a start, and that there's a lot of work that needs to get done before this is really ready for a primetime hardware device like the Helix. But it is good to see that they're starting to try and work these things, this Xbox meets Windows kind of environment. So I'm glad to see that, knowing this device is probably 1 to 2 years away, that we are starting the work of trying to truly marry together Windows and Xbox, because it's going to be hard. And on top of making a new console with a new interface, they are truly trying to merge Windows and Xbox. And if they don't do it right, this device is going to fucking suck. And let me just be clear, there's a lot of ways they can do it wrong. I see the videos and the reports about the Xbox ROG Ally and how people are like, it's just a Windows device. You can pull up the fucking calculator. It constantly asks you for updates and things like that. It's a Windows device that happens to run Xbox stuff. It has a light Xbox shell over it. This device can't be that. It needs to feel like a console that just so happens to play Steam games. It cannot feel like a PC that can run Xbox. And so I'm glad that they're getting to work on this imminently because there's a lot of work to do. And so this is a pretty good announcement in my opinion. I think this is exciting stuff. I look forward to seeing the early days of this Xbox mode when it launches on PC next month. I'll be fucking around with it for sure because I want to see how it goes. But yeah. Other than that, I think the bigger thing here that people keep picking up and talking about is how Ronald emphasizes Microsoft's commitment to game preservation and tease the ability to play classic games in new ways later this year. So Microsoft, for the first time in, I don't know, what's it been, like 4 years or something, is picking back up the backwards compatibility initiative. And now it's interesting to see, he says, the ability to play classic games in new ways. So that is assumedly taking games that are not backwards compatible and making them backwards compatible, but it could also be taking games that are backwards compatible on your Xbox console and making them playable on your Windows PC. This is very exciting. I'll be honest. Here's positive, Jesse. This is possibly the most exciting fucking thing that Xbox has said or is going to do or is committed to in some way in a long time, especially now that they own Activision. I mean, if this is their way of saying, hey, all those games you have from the Xbox 360 era that you play via backwards compatibility on your Xbox One or Series console, those games are now translatable to your Xbox library on PC. I don't know how they'll do that, but that would be fucking crazy if they can somehow work out some update to Windows that makes it read games and software like an Xbox. That would be a whole like licensing nightmare. So I don't really know how they do something like that. If it's a kind of thing where, remember when they brought backwards compatibility to the Xbox One, they're like, any game can be backwards compatible. The publisher basically just has to flip a switch on the back end. Would it work like that? Or would it be like pulling teeth trying to get each and every game moved over? Like I feel like that will be so fucking hard to pull off. But if they can find a relatively elegant solution for this, that would be a massive win for this inevitable slow rollout of trying to take Xbox people and dump them onto PC away from Xbox consoles. This would get me incredibly fucking hyped, especially if they can start bringing some of these licensed Activision games like Spider-Man games and Tony Hawk games and Transformers games over to PC and modern Xbox hardware via backwards compatibility. I mean, these are the kinds of things Xbox has shown a propensity to do and have done in some form or fashion in the past that have made Xbox such a fucking great brand. If they can do something like this would be the most impressive example yet of them treating gaming preservation and backwards compatibility with such a deep level of respect that the rest of the industry really has no excuse for not trying to combat. Because if someone as lame and weak as Microsoft and Xbox can be this good at backwards compatibility, what's your fucking excuse? Sony, who's got all these goddamn Resistance video games that came out on the PlayStation 3 in like 2010 and 11, but you can't fucking play them on your PS5. Like, what's your goddamn excuse, Sony? Why don't you go pick your fucking nose, you weirdos? I don't know. Like that is something that I won't lie, it gets me pretty goddamn hyped right off the bat. But more of this stuff, less talking out your ass with vagueness and more teasing, exciting things people genuinely want. Not Xbox games on PlayStation, but backwards compatibility on PC and things like that. This is an actual bone for the fans, which would be nice. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see because it is Xbox after all, so they could always find a way to make these words mean anything but what we thought they meant. All right, he continues on and says, Project Helix is powered by a custom AMD SoC and is co-designed for the next generation of DirectX and FSR to unlock what comes next, Ronald said. So YouTuber Moore's Law is Dead was also talking about this, apparently how the ray tracing on this next Xbox could be like 6 to 8 times better than what current consoles do, which is amazing, and that will be the next gen thing. Like, that's what will feel next gen, is when like every game has incredible ray tracing. It will make games look and feel so much more next gen, even if graphically the jump from like a PS5 to a PS6 isn't that impressive. It will be that ray tracing leap forward that really makes games feel so next gen. He said it delivers an order of magnitude leap in ray tracing performance and capability, integrates intelligence directly into new graphics and the compute pipeline, and drives meaningful gains in efficiency, scale, and visual ambition. The result is a more realistic, immersive, and dynamic worlds, or more dynamic worlds for players. I'm excited to share that we plan to ship an alpha version of the hardware to developers beginning in 2027. So that's the caveat. If the alpha version is coming in 2027, or beginning in 2027, That to me sounds like, oh, this device will be out like maybe early to mid 2028 at the earliest. I don't know. Don't developers usually get these things for like at least a year or two? That sounds kind of like this device isn't coming in 2027, which I know a lot of people would be happy to hear about, but it's a little different than what we, I guess, had heard from reports and rumors. Anyway, he says, and we're committed to keeping games from our 4 generations of Xbox playable for years to come. As part of our 25th anniversary later this year, we'll be rolling out new ways to play some of the most iconic games from our past. So again, kind of touching on this backwards compatibility thing, this is the only thing Xbox has said that feels like some objective type of win. Unless what they're actually talking about is, guys, we did it. We figured out how to make all your Xbox 360 games backwards compatible on your PlayStation 5, so that all the PS3 games that aren't backwards compatible on PS4 and 5 will be backwards compatible via your Xbox 360. Which obviously I'm joking, that's not a thing that can happen, but it just got at this point it seems like they're so fucking committed to making PlayStation the best place to play Xbox that I almost wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Anyway, Ronald said that by converging Xbox and Windows gaming, Project Helix would offer developers a simple, more unified path to reach more players while helping reduce development costs. Remember a couple weeks ago or a month or whatever ago when there was that news story we covered where I think it was GDC or BAFTA or someone who surveyed game developers, and it was like something like 80% of game developers said that they're looking forward to or most interested in developing their games for PC. And then like the number, and then it was like mobile and PlayStation and Switch, and then it worked all the way down to Xbox, where the number of developers who were interested in developing for Xbox was something like it was like 20 or 30% or something. Like, this is their way of changing that. They're like, what we want to basically do is to make the next Xbox a PC, so that if someone makes a game for PC, it's available for Xbox. Because if we can't get people to care about supporting Xbox, we'll make the most powerful, most common, most popular, most heavily adopted piece of hardware. We'll just turn that into an Xbox, because lucky for us, we kind of control that thing, and then that's how we'll win. So here's before we wrap this up, actually, let me just put a pin in this. All right, let me write that note, and then we'll come back. So he continues on. He says, we're taking everything we've learned about building and leading gaming OS and bringing it directly into Windows for both players and developers. After debuting an early version of the ROG Xbox Ally handheld, today I'm excited to share that we are bringing the same innovation to Windows 11 with Xbox Mode that begins rolling out in April, starting with select markets. Xbox Mode lets players seamlessly switch between productivity and play, with the familiar full screen and controller-optimized Xbox experience while embracing the openness of Windows. So the thing is, like, I want to get so excited about this because I'm like, oh my god, that's it, dude. You could be a PC gamer and an Xbox gamer, because if you want the console experience, get the Xbox Helix and put it in your living room and play like an Xbox. But if you're a PC gamer, just go play PC, or you can do whatever the fuck you want, and it's all Xbox. It's great. But the problem is, it's like, how do you make a console like this make sense? Because if Xbox is doubling down on PC, it's like, you're not going to sell your games, because there's 2 places people are primarily buying their games. The first one is Steam, which is a video game storefront on PC that directly competes with Xbox, and might I add, completely just fucking rakes Xbox over the coals in terms of how much more popular they are. And then the second thing is the PlayStation storefront. So the thing is, Xbox is very committed to supporting both PlayStation and Steam, but I don't think you can sell this fucking device if you're supporting PlayStation and Steam, because one, if all your games are on PlayStation, PlayStation's cheaper and more popular, people are just going to go to PlayStation. And two, if people are PC gamers or they're more interested in playing on the PC side, even if they want to buy this device, why wouldn't they just go to Steam? The whole point of how a console works is the manufacturer sells you the console. They make maybe $50 or something off of it because they sell it at a razor-thin margin. And then you log in with your fucking gamer tag or whatever, and you start buying things. You buy V-Bucks, you buy Mario, you buy Zelda, you buy Pokemon, whatever. And then Nintendo starts making 30%. Or you're on PlayStation, you buy V-Bucks and Robux and God of War and Horizon and The Last of Us. And Sony gets 30% of all that stuff, but 100% of their stuff. Nintendo gets 100% of Mario and Zelda and 30% of your Robux and your fucking Fortnite V-Bucks. And then on Xbox, how does it work? Xbox makes 100% of your copy sold of Halo, Gears of War, Forza, Fabled, Perfect Dark Just King. They canceled that. And then they make 30% of your V-Bucks, 30% on your purchase of fucking Robux, and 30% on your purchase of Hitman, and 30% on your purchase of Grand Theft Auto. And that is how Xbox makes their fucking money. But you're not going to make any money if you're telling everyone, go buy the game on PlayStation where we make significantly less money because we have to give Sony a cut, or go buy your game on Steam where we have to give Valve a huge cut. And what makes extra special, no fucking sense, so stupid, is to say, here's our new Xbox console. It's a PC, so you can access the Epic Game Store and Steam and all that shit. And then you basically tell your gamers, yeah, so you boot this thing up, it gives you the Xbox logo, it launches into this Xbox shell. But if you exit that Xbox shell, now you're at a PC desktop. And you can just click on Steam, open it up, and buy Call of Duty there. So instead of us getting $70 from you for buying Call of Duty on the Xbox storefront, we now get $45 or whatever because you bought it on Steam and Valve's got to get their cut. There's just no way that not only are they going to do that, but also do it on their own fucking console. It's like you're making less money on your games, on your platform, when your hardware is not even selling. Who is this device for, and how does it make sense? It's a cool device, don't get me wrong. I love, if the money doesn't have to make sense, it's cool. In my opinion, this idea that like, it's like the Steam machine, right? It's like I go down to my living room, there's my Xbox Project Helix, I sit down with my controller, I boot it up, and it's a seamless plug-and-play console-like experience, and I'm in. I'm gaming, I'm playing, it's great. But then I go upstairs because my girlfriend wants to take the TV. She's going to watch Bridgerton or whatever. And I go, okay, I'm going to go play Battlefield 6 upstairs. And then I turn on my PC. I open up the Xbox app. My PC turns into like an Xbox experience. I grab a controller at my desk and I start playing Battlefield. And it's like right where I left off. It's awesome. It's a really great vision and idea. The problem is no one's going to buy this thing for $1,200. Everyone who's on PC is just going to buy the fucking game on Steam. And everyone's just going to buy a PlayStation and play your games on PlayStation anyway. So this is why it makes no sense. I love the idea of the console. I love the hardware. It's a really neat idea. It's basically the Steam machine, but for Xbox. And it just makes no sense. Stop. You could just stop right now and cancel Xbox because this makes no sense. Without Steam, it will fail because people don't want to play PC games that aren't on Steam. With Steam, it will fail because nobody will give Xbox any money because they'll buy all their games on Steam on their Xbox console. This device makes no fucking sense. I love it. I want to love it. I want to play it. It looks good, but it makes no sense. So that's my hang up is just like, what do you do with this device? What's the point of it? All right. So Cargo Runner writes in and says, probably too late for the next show, but was a highlight of GDC for me was Tom Warren. This was a highlight of GDC from Tom Warren. Wonder what new ways means. Following quote. Sorry, Cargo Runner. I'm exhausted and I'm reading like shit. He said, quote, as part of the 25th anniversary later this year, the game preservation team will release some iconic games from the past that are now going to be able to be played in entirely new ways, says Jason Ronald. Yeah, that is interesting. My take is you're going to be able to play Voodoo Vince, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, fucking Cameo, what are some other backwards compatible games? I don't know, fucking Mass Effect, Left 4 Dead, Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk, Spider-Man, Web of Shadows. You're going to be able to play all these games on PC via your Xbox catalog. That's what that reads to me, best case scenario. And that is something that I will lose my shit for because it's way too badass of a feature. Otherwise, what they mean is probably we've worked out a deal with Steam and we will honor a copy. You know, if we'll scan your Xbox page and every game you own on there that's also available on Steam, we'll give you a Steam code for those games so you can translate that library over to your PC from your Xbox. Obviously, that's a joke. That's not going to happen. But I just don't see many other ways or things that this could mean, if not that. I just think it means about trying to start to migrate the Xbox library over to PC, because at the end of the day, the future is to kill off Xbox as a traditional console and make it a PC experience. But you know what's going to be crazy is, like, even though the next Xbox is going to be powerful and capable and dynamic and all these cool things, if at the end of the day people are just putting their games on PC and you can play it through the Xbox shell, what that really means is that Xbox is going to become like one of the worst ways to play games, because, you know, one of the benefits of PlayStation is you buy a game, you pop it in your machine, you play it, it's optimized for the machine, it's good to go. And you often see the stories where like a new game comes out and people are like, oh, don't buy it on PC, it crashes, it's broken, it's unoptimized, it's buggy, it's fucked up, it's messed up, save files are corrupted, it breaks, everything sucks. Oh, but on PlayStation, you just put it in and it works immediately. Xbox is about to go from it just works to, well, it's a PC game, so if you buy that new, you know, Dead Rising 3 or whatever, it's just going to fucking destroy your Xbox. But good luck with that. So that's another thing they have to consider if you're basically just building a PC and slapping the Xbox skin on it. But anyway, lots of things to consider here, and there's obviously just a lot in the future of Xbox to talk about, to learn from. And so, listen, like, I'm jaded, I'm tired, I'm upset, but I'm also excited and I'm optimistic. I'm all the things. It's hard, man, as an Xbox fan, because we've invested so much money, so much time, so much enthusiasm to this brand, and it's in such a weird state of flux. And the people at the helm who are responsible for communicating the changes and navigating the future of this brand are just constantly talking and constantly saying things, but they mean nothing, and they're never transparent or honest about anything. So it's just frustrating, because there's always something to talk about, but I can't really ever believe anything until it happens. So, all right, we got to keep moving, just because I'm feeling really tired, so my voice keeps getting really raspy fast. So we just got to keep moving, because there's still a lot to talk about. All right. We'll follow up with this more later, because I'm sure this is going to be the big talking point of Xbox for the next 2 years of our lives. So with that said, let's talk about some Minecraft news. All right, this is a funny one, because I was just talking to a friend about Minecraft Dungeons, and then this popped up. But from Windows Central, it says, if the latest reports are accurate, a sequel to Minecraft Dungeons may also be on the way. The project's reportedly being developed under the codename Project Spicewood. So here's everything that current leaks claim and whether there's anything noteworthy in them. Microsoft has a habit of taking down content, so images won't be shown on the article, but you can go online and look for them. A new leak reportedly comes from XOX Leak on Twitter, a group that typically is known for sharing Marvel Rival leaks. The account is said to be run by a team of data miners, and with recent Minecraft files reportedly leaking, it appears that the group has started digging through those as well. If the rumors are true, the game is expected to release in Q2 of 2026, which would be like late this year. According to leaks, the game has been in development for 2 years using the Unreal Engine. A Q2 26 release would put the game anywhere between the 1st of April. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking fiscal quarter. Okay. A Q2 release would put the game anywhere between the 1st of April and the last day of June. So that means this game will get a short announcement to release timeframe, which honestly could mean that it gets announced and then shadow dropped at the Xbox Summer Showcase in June, because that's usually early June, the first Sunday of the month. So that would be a really cool announcement. I don't know. I liked Minecraft Dungeons a lot. I played that game with my girlfriend. It was a game we enjoyed playing a lot. I feel like that would be the perfect game for the Xbox ROG Ally. It's a good Xbox Series S game. It's a great game for couch co-op or online, or just playing with your buddies, your family, or whatever. I would greatly welcome a Minecraft Dungeons. I'm actually a little surprised we haven't had a Minecraft Dungeons 2 yet. I think the first one came out, I want to say it was 21 or 2022. I think 2021, but it's been a minute. And that game did really well and got a lot of support, so I am a little surprised. I think Minecraft Legends has kind of scared them off, because that game seemed to kind of tank and fail really hard. So I think, it's like the fact that they've had ups, like obviously Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons, but they've also had downs like Minecraft Story Mode and Minecraft Legends. So I guess that's probably what it is. But when you really consider the money you've made off of Minecraft Dungeons compared to like the money made off Minecraft proper, it's probably chump change, and maybe that's why there's been no big rush to go out and do a Minecraft Dungeons 2. But I think this would be a great addition. It's a great Game Pass get. It's a great way to help pad out a year's release cycle. I think this is kind of a no-brainer. So I hope we get this, and I would look forward very much to playing another Minecraft Dungeons games. It's more my speed than Diablo anyway, so I'm all for it. I see no negatives here. All right, guys, let's move forward. All right, this past Monday morning, IGN reported that an unknown number of individuals had been cut from all 4 teams working as part of the coalition of developers that comprises Battlefield Studios. This means that workers at DICE, Criterion, Ripple Effect, and Motive have all been affected. The publisher issued the following statement. Quote, we've made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community, a spokesperson said. Battlefield remains one of our biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insight from Battlefield Labs. This, of course, sucks, especially when this game was like the best-selling game of last year. It outsold Call of Duty. People were so high on it. It got great reviews. It did really well. And now the concurrent player base has stagnated in the Season 1 to Season 2 timeline. But still, I think this probably comes from a place of, it's a trying time in the games industry. It's a precarious time in the games industry. And they're probably looking for ways to cut corners everywhere and anywhere they can. They're saying, who is not essential right now because we're working on Season 3, Season 4 content, and you could be cut because you're more of a guy we needed during like the game's primary development when we were trying to get it out the door, and they're starting to cut people where they can and downsize. It's frustrating, and it looks bad, especially because, well, not only it's laying off more people, but from the more selfish perspective of people just constantly bitching and moaning about games. People are always complaining about how Battlefield doesn't have enough content coming out fast enough. So if your response is to then lay off people at these teams, you're only making it optically a worse situation because you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get to getting more maps and guns into Battlefield 6 as fast as we can. Let's fire some people so we have fewer people able to help make this happen. So obviously, as it always goes, thoughts to the people affected by this. It's a tough fucking time. I can't imagine what it'd be like working in the games industry, putting all this passion and hard work into making this dream a reality, and then just being like, wow, I can't hold down a fucking job because I get fired every time I work. So that really sucks. It's just another nail in the EA sucks coffin. Enjoy your fucking Saudi blood money, you piece of shit. But let's just move forward because it's all we can do. Try not to be too negative. So let's talk about something positive here. Capcom have moved up the release of their new game Pragmata, that new sci-fi action game. Originally scheduled for release on April 24th, the game is now arriving on Xbox and PC a week earlier on April 17th. Capcom announced during the a showcase live stream on Thursday. So that's cool. The game's being brought up a week. That makes me a little more, I don't know. I made a list of all the games coming out this year and the release dates that I'm constantly checking and updating, and it's stressing me the fuck out. I did this a couple years ago, and now I'm doing it again. This stresses me out because I'm like, all right, Replaced comes out April 14th. That's a must play. Tomodachi Life Living the Dream comes out on the 16th. That game looks really fun. But then Pragmata's the next day on the 17th. Oh God, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So April's already looking like it's stacked. March is stacked. What am I saying? Okay, there's Pragmata. I played the demo of this game on Switch too. I liked it a lot. I was kind of torn on it though. I was like, I feel like this is a game I wait for it to be on sale for $20 to play. But I don't know. After I played it, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I kind of did like that. Maybe I do want to play it at launch. I don't know. I think right now I'm just getting a little excited by all these big AAA games that are coming to Switch day one right now with Switch 2, and Capcom has been really good about supporting that. So there's a little bit of novelty and excitement behind that opportunity right now, and I think that's where this game falls. But yeah, I like Pragmata. I think this game looks pretty cool. I'm excited to see how people receive it. All right, here. Let's talk about, we go back from the happy, back to the sad. All right, we'll keep going back and forth. All right, the VGC reports the new studio founded by Yakuza series creator Toshihiro Nagoshi is reportedly facing closure after publisher NetEase indicated that it would be pulling funding for its debut title. According to a Bloomberg report, employees of the team were told on Friday that NetEase intends to cut off funding to Gang of Dragon, which was announced at the Game Awards just 3 months ago, coming this May. NetEase allegedly made the decision after discovering that the project needed additional $44 million in funding to reach completion, which is like not that much for modern game development. But anyway, Nagoshi is said to be seeking additional funding to continue developing the project, but has had no success so far. Neither NetEase nor Nagoshi Studios is responding to these claims. However, if this game is to be canceled, we'll probably know soon, but the game stars prolific South Korean-American actor Ma Dong-seok, who is known for his performance in Train to Busan, The Outlaws, and Marvel's Eternals. It's basically like knockoff Yakuza, honestly, but from the guy that made Yakuza, and it looks really good if I'm being honest. But fuck NetEase, and I don't want people to lose their jobs and for this project to get canceled, but I do want NetEase to fail, so it's a conflicting feeling. I hope these guys are able to salvage this product, but I hope this is a warning to people not to get in bed with unsavory actors like NetEase. Fuck the Saudis, fuck NetEase, fuck Tencent. Guys, we gotta stop. We gotta stop supporting these evil governments and corporations that are encroaching on our space. Let these things be a learning lesson to you. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? All right. Next up, we go back to the positive news. Yeah, positive news. I don't know. It's a good sentiment of, standing up and using your voice. And, it used to be that, like, being an American, it was like having your opinion and your freedom of speech and being loud and proud about it. And now, I guess, being a proud American is just blindly going with everything the government does, whether you would conventionally agree with it or not. But anyway, I think Steve Downs is being a little bit patriotic here, but let's see. VGC relays that on Friday, the official White House Twitter account posted a message saying, "Justice the American way," along with a montage video showing airstrikes on Iran interspersed with clips from various movies, video games, and TV shows, because I shit you not, this is the world we live in, where the U.S. government can get in bed with Israel and illegally bomb and begin an illegal, unauthorized war in Iran that no one in the American people want. None of the American people want. And then the majority vote that got your ass into office will defend this decision, even though they were the ones touting for months and months during the election. This is the peace president. This is the no wars president. And then this motherfucker starts bombing people. And the White House has some fucking lame-ass, cringy millennial douchebag running their Twitter account who goes, "What's a nostalgic thing for me and people of my age? Oh, Evanescence and Tropic Thunder and Halo 2. And they take these video games and movies and songs and mash them together to make war propaganda in support of this illegal offensive war that nobody in this country wants, that makes the U.S. not look like bullies, but definitively proves to the remainder of the world that we are the fucking bad guys. We are the Nazis. We are the Hitlers of the world, the U.S. is, because we are illegally starting wars after lying straight to everyone's faces and saying, we're not going to start any wars. And also just having no even defensible, remotely defensible reason for starting wars. I just like that there was an Iran nuclear deal struck in a previous administration, and the current administration got rid of that deal and just said, oh, it was a bad deal. Never said why. Nobody ever questioned it. And then got us back into war with this country, which is fucking sick. I love how nobody questions that. But we're just supposed to blindly support the war because some stupid fucking lame-ass 33-year-old who runs the White House Twitter page made a Halo montage trying to brainwash Americans into defending this irreprehensible, disgusting war. It's 2026. If you engage in war that is anything other than absolute necessary, I'm talking about like anything shy of like the Holocaust, if you're engaging in war, you're an irreprehensible, subhuman piece of shit. Like, fuck you, immediately. Our president has raped little girls, and to distract from the fact that he raped little girls, he then dropped bombs on little girls in Iran so that we would focus on oil and gas price. And it always works like a fucking charm. Our government, this isn't a conspiracy, this is fact. Our president rapes young women. He doesn't want to be held accountable for it. And we live in a country where we don't have accountability. And so he starts an illegal war because Israel has dirt on him. And so he does their bidding and starts an illegal war. And instead of the American people saying, hey, you can't rape little girls. Hey, you can't kill little girls. hey, you can't start a war without the approval of Congress. They say, well, gas prices are pretty fucking high again. This is bullshit. Okay. Well, you know what, Americans? You deserve every fucking bad thing that happens to you. I hope all your fucking kids go hungry. I hope all you guys lose your fucking jobs. I hope the worst thing happens to all of you. Because if we're bombing little girls and raping little girls, you know, our government, not us, but our government, thank God. Well, thank God it's not us, at least. Then I would hope that at the very least, we as Americans would be cool, strong, independent freedom fighters, and we would fight for justice and peace, instead of going, that's right, they put Halo and Yu-Gi-Oh in a clip with Breaking Benjamin. I like this shit. So anyway, now that we're entirely off topic, the clips on the Twitter post show footage from Halo, Deadpool, Star Wars, Yu-Gi-Oh, Tropic Thunder, Braveheart, Gladiator. Don't care, dude. Superman, dude, Superman, are you kidding? That's the cringiest one, dude. Superman, superhero was all about bringing peace to the world and fighting bad no matter what. Love it. Anyway, although some of the characters in the montage aren't American, the clips are intended to celebrate America's bombing of numerous targets in Iran. The video has provoked angry responses from a number of people involved in the clips, including Steve Downes, who is the voice of Master Chief since the original Halo Combat Evolved in 2001. The montage includes a clip of Master Chief saying he's finishing this fight, and Downes took to Twitter on Sunday to state that he had nothing to do with the video and that he wants his voice to be removed from it. He says, it's come to my attention that there is at least one propaganda video circulating that was either produced or at the very least endorsed by the White House that uses images of Master Chief and uses my voice to support the war in Iran, Steve Downes writes. Let me be crystal clear. I did not participate, nor was I consulted, nor do I endorse the use of my voice in this video or the message it conveys. I demand that the producers of this disgusting and juvenile war porn remove my voice immediately. Let me just be clear about this. That is an incredibly tepid and entirely warrantable thing to say, you know? Hey, I think that it is wrong that my president is so afraid of people releasing the files that show that he's a pedophile and a rapist. And so he started an offensive illegal war. And I don't want my work and my creative projects and the things I've worked on and represent to be weaponized to indoctrinate the American people into supporting this disgusting invasion of a foreign country that, let's be clear, regardless of what you think, whether it's your fucking religion or your personal beliefs, or whether you think we have an obligation to spread democracy, which we don't, the truth of the matter is the United States has zero fucking business getting involved with Iran in any way. Iran is a country that we should have no fucking concern for, because they are just a foreign nation on the other side of the world doing their own thing, and we shouldn't be engaged in it. If we don't like the way their country's being run, let's open our borders for the refugees in that nation that need a safe haven to come to. And let's act as an example and a shining star of what humanity could be and should be, as opposed to consistently proving to everyone, no matter how bad your country is, no matter how poor and hungry your people are, no matter how poorly your women are treated, no matter how bad your schools are and how infested your drinking water is, and no matter how oppressed your people are and how divided the land is based on terrorist organizations and splintered government factions, regardless of the state in which your government is in, the United States will always prove that we can be bigger bad guys than you are. And that's all this war does. It's the only thing it accomplishes. So yeah, I'd be pretty fucking pissed if I was Steve Downes. And just as someone with no skin in the game, really, because this is not my creative content, someone who's just a Halo fan, this pisses me off. You know, people trying to weaponize my childhood, things that have nothing to do with this war. It's fucking disgusting. And honestly, if the American people are not incredibly enraged and pissed off and vocal and just so pissed off about this shit, then I'm sorry. I'm not sorry at all. You're just a fucking part of the problem. This is this is the stuff that makes the United States such an awful country, is that we are so protected from everything. We are so free from ever feeling the consequences of our actions because we have a country where we have the most influential media, the most influential government, the most influential entertainment, the most prevalent social media platforms. We export the most culture in this world. And the whole world relies on so much of what we do that we think our shit doesn't stink. And then we don't bother thinking about anywhere else in the world because we're number one. We don't have to care. And then we become the bad guys and we don't pay attention to it because who gives a shit about Iran? We created the internet. We created iPhone. We created blue jeans. We created pickup trucks. Who gives a shit about Iran? We have Alaska. We could just get oil from there if we wanted to. We never choose to, but we could if we wanted to, right? And that's what it always becomes. And the American people are so fucking selfish. They constantly vote for these shit politicians who pretend that universal healthcare isn't a choice when it is. They pretend that homelessness isn't a choice when it's a choice. We choose to have homeless people in this country every day. And in exchange, they go, we promise to be peaceful. We promise to make the lives of the American people better. And then they fucking go to war. And then the politicians lie and steal. And they take AIPAC money. And they're corrupt assholes. And they do everything against your best interest. And what do? We go, well, I don't know. I don't live in Iran, so I don't really care. I just care about, like, what's going on with my gas prices. I don't know. I don't really care about Iran. I just care about, like, the job market kind of sucks here. I kind of want a promotion. It's like, I don't give a shit if the roads are bad, if the jobs are bad, if the groceries are expensive, if the gas is expensive, if you're worried about your kids' futures. Because if you're going to vote our country into this rabbit hole with no regard from how we affect the people around the world, you don't fucking deserve anything. Like, fuck you. Like, seriously, fuck you. So, yeah, I mean, he's outraged, and a lot of people are outraged. And I saw, like, Gene Simmons or whatever from fucking Kiss bitching and moaning on Twitter, and he was saying, like, Mark Ruffalo and and not Steve Carell, it's the Ben Stiller, the actor Ben Stiller. He's like, Ben Stiller and Mark Ruffalo need to stop bitching and complaining. Let their art do the talking. It's like, Gene Simmons, you can shut the fuck up because nobody gives a shit about Kiss. And you're a fucking asshole because there's nothing rock and roll about a guy who tries to silence the voices of people who have prominent voices who could impact positive change in this world and telling those people to shut up in the face of their authoritarian government that is illegally starting a war right now. So fuck you, Kiss. Fuck you, Gene Simmons. And fuck you to everyone who not only voted for this shit, but also sits back and acts like it's not a problem because all they give a shit about is their precious gas prices. I hope you have to sell your fucking car because you can't afford gas. You deserve nothing if you enable this shit. And I'm just so grateful that in a world where everything about Halo sucks, the one thing I don't have to give up on is that the voice actor behind Master Chief is at least somewhat a decent human being. So at least there's that. Anyway, now that we're very much in the conversation of Xbox, I want to move forward with a final story. Let's go to the other side of the continent because this fucking country makes me want to blow my brains out. And we can talk about Japan, another country that has issues where they like grope women and stuff on public trains, but at least they gave us Resident Evil. All right, more details have emerged on the game from game designer Shinji Mikami on his new studio, which he says is developing an original IP for consoles and PC. Mikami, who's best known for creating the Resident Evil series at Capcom, left Tango Gameworks, the studio behind The Evil Within, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Hi-Fi Rush, in 2023. Now more details have emerged on the designer's next venture via a website from Unbound Games, and according to that website, which I've never heard of, which has been live for at least a year but has only recently widely circulated, the company has been in business since May 2023 with Mikami as representative director. So, grain of salt, it's a website that's like kind of new, not totally backed up, but Unbound Games is said to have around 50 employees sorry, let me back up. The website, the team is new. It's Unbound Games. All right, let's back up. So Unbound Games is the new team. It's said to have around 50 employees with an aim to expand to around 150 employees and is described as a fully independent company developing high-end consumer games, creating original AAA titles. According to the job listings, Unbound is currently developing a high-end original IP project powered by Unreal Engine 5 for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and has aspirations to work on smaller scale titles concurrently in the future. So cool. I mean, I wonder if they're just going to do more horror shit like The Evil Within or Resident Evil. But I know they were getting some slack for like some kind of quote where they were talking about making like more like smaller scale, like AA style games, but with like the polish of like AAA games, which I don't know why they would get crap for saying that. Like, to me, that sounds like music to my ears. I would love more 10-hour video games that look and play really great, as opposed to more 50, 80-hour video games that are kind of hollow. So this sounds fucking awesome. Not that there's a whole lot to build off of here or say about it, but it is exciting to get an update from Shinji Mikami, because there was about all of 12 goddamn seconds where he was with Team Xbox before Xbox managed to botch that, because Xbox clearly has no interest in retaining high quality talent. So yeah, we'll have to be, I'll be keen to see what he does next, just because of what a prolific figure he is. And I was thinking about him recently because I just beat Resident Evil Requiem, and I was like, wow, this series is still so good even without this guy. I wonder what he's up to next, because I also did just play Resident Evil 4, which is one of his, which is like his fucking, what's it called? Words escaping me. Like his masterpiece, and his magnum opus, and yeah, and you know, it's like, well, when are we gonna get to see this guy in action again? It's been a minute, and Hi-Fi Rush was more of a support background project for him, so you know, really, it's been a minute since like Ghostwire Tokyo, Evil Within 2, since we've really gotten like anything from this guy. So curious to see where that dude is and what happens next. But guys, that's gonna do it for all of our news this week. Let's quickly take a little break. I need to rest my voice, as you can probably tell. It keeps cracking. I'm tired, so I'm gonna go grab some water, take a break, come back. We'll talk about the games I've been playing and wrap up with some comments. All right, that was one of my better political rants, because it was so incoherent from all the me and my brain like stopping me from going as far as I wanted to go. Can you believe that was me holding back? All right, guys, let's talk about the games I've been playing this week, because I'm really excited to talk about Resident Evil Requiem. But that's not the only game I've been playing, kind of. But before we can talk about what I've been playing, I do want to first tell you guys about what it is I've been eating. And since, you know, we are a country that loves corporations and profit more than humanity, I thought I'd talk to you guys about the Big Arch from McDonald's. Now, this is the sandwich that's kind of been making the rounds, or this McDonald's thing that's been making the rounds, because the CEO was, I don't know what the context is, but the CEO was on camera taking like this stupid baby fucking bite of this new sandwich they have that they're advertising, and everyone made fun of him because he took this baby bite and he's afraid to eat it or whatever, because, you know, CEOs don't actually fucking engage with the products they're responsible for, but who cares? The point is, I'm a fat ass. I like a McDonald's, so I got the Big Arch because my girlfriend wanted McDonald's on Friday night, and I said, okay, I'm going to try the Big Arch. And it's, I don't know, it's like a Big Mac meets a Whopper. It's got like a different kind of sauce than the regular Thousand Island dressing that the Big Mac normally has. It has crispy onions, it has sauteed onions. It has like white cheddar cheese instead of classic yellow McDonald's cheese. It has two big ass patties on it, like the double quarter patties on it. And so it's a big fucking burger, and it has a different kind of like sesame seed, poppy seed bun on it. So it's a different McDonald's sandwich. They're touting it as a limited time thing. I think the idea is, hey, if this is popular, we'll put it on the menu as a permanent fixture. But yeah, it's like kind of this new modern big boy alternative to the Big Mac. And I'm not much of a Big Mac guy. The Big Mac is fine. I think the Quarter Pounder is better than the Big Mac. But really, when it comes to McDonald's for me, I'm usually a double cheeseburger kind of guy, because they're just cheaper, and you can get two of them without ketchup for like $4, and they're pretty fucking good. And that'll do you for 800 calories. They're about 400 calories each. This thing's like 1,000 calories, so I highly advise it being like a one and done type of deal. But that being said, I won't lie. I assumed, you know, McDonald's is McDonald's. I think people love to pretend to hate it, but McDonald's is good shit at the end of the day. I was not expecting this to be bad by any means. I was not expecting it to be amazing. I was expecting it to be like firmly fine. Like I thought I would try and be like, yeah, that's no better or worse than a Big Mac. Anyway, moving on with life. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The Big Arch, I think, is probably the best sandwich at McDonald's. Like I thought this thing was really fucking good. Like it's the perfect concoction or combination of ingredients at McDonald's, and I would I listen, I know there's a lot of belly aching about how overpriced it is at my local McDonald's. McDonald's prices vary depending on where you live, but where I live in the greater Orlando area, these things are about $8.50 for this sandwich for me around here. And I got it for $10 because I got it as a combo, so I got it with some fries and a drink. But honestly, for like $10.50 after tax, I didn't feel bad about buying this thing at all. I liked it a lot. It's not something I'm going to go back for anytime too soon because the if you get like a fucking Coke Zero, a French fry, and a big arch, I mean that's like a 1,300 calorie meal at least right there. I'm not doing that, as a casual meal. But that being said, I thought this thing was pretty fucking good, and it's not uncommon for McDonald's or someone to put out a new menu item and it's like, oh, that's pretty good, and then it goes away and you move on with life. But usually the only fast food joint that's like kind of got a knack for like putting something out that like slaps and then you want to go back again and again for it, that's like a Taco Bell staple. I feel like the other fast food restaurants, for the most part, they kind of have their tried and true staples, and then everything else they do is more of like a gimmick to kind of get you in the door here or there every once in a blue moon. But like, this is a genuine great addition to the McDonald's menu, and I would be more than happy to see this thing stay, or maybe not, because it is expensive and super unhealthy. But that being said, it at least it has the taste to back it up. So I don't know, man. If you're curious about this burger at all, I'd say give it a go. I don't know if they're selling it in other territories. I know we got some like UK listeners and such, but I thought the Big Arch was a pretty good fucking sandwich. I watch a lot of those YouTube videos where like people travel, like, oh, here's McDonald's in Spain, here's McDonald's in Japan, here's McDonald's in Korea. And McDonald's always consistently looks better in every fucking country but the US. This is like the first time where McDonald's had a burger here where I was like, this kind of looks like one of those burgers you would see on like the McDonald's Germany menu. And then you'd be like, shit, I wish we had that here. Like, I don't know, man. I'm a fan. So anyway, we don't have to linger on McDonald's too much longer, but that's it for what I've been eating. I thought that thing was fucking good, and I'd highly recommend it. But anyway, let's move on to what I've been playing. As always, I'm left with this feeling where it's like, man, I was so high on this game Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but now we're like halfway through a work week. I haven't played games in a few days. All I can think about is like sleep and work right now. So my mind's not there in its entirety to talk about this, but to the best of my ability right now with how sleep deprived I am, I will try to quickly go over my experience playing and beating the newest Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I finally started this game last like Thursday, Friday night after a lot of anticipation because I was blasting through Resident Evil 4 Remake in order to get ready for this. And I just gotta say, man, this game is like exceptionally good. And I was a little like disappointed with it at first because I was seeing all the really positive reviews it was getting up front when it first came out. But after like I felt like the first hour of this game was really captivating, and then hours like 2, 3, and 4, I was like, okay, this is good, but it's not the best Resident Evil. And then by hours like 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm like, oh, this game's fucking awesome. And then the ending, fucking awesome. It's hard to talk about because it's like, this is a very story heavy game, and it's like I don't want to give away anything because this is like, if you've ever played a Resident Evil game, this is probably the Resident Evil game you're going to care about the most because of its story. I know there's a lot of narrative and like nods and things that went over my head because this is a Resident Evil game for Resident Evil fans. There's a lot of nods to Code Veronica, Resident Evil X, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil this and that. Listen, I'm not gonna lie here. Resident Evil is like a series I've always had a lot of exposure to because all my brothers always loved it growing up. And I was always like, yeah, that's a cool game, but I don't know if I'm ever going to play that. I didn't really play Resident Evil for myself until Cronky got me Resident Evil 3 Remake in like 2020 or 21 when it came out. And I blasted through that in like 2 sittings and was like, this game's phenomenal. I love Resident Evil 3 now. Like, Resident Evil 3 is actually still my favorite Resident Evil game, which I know is considered a hot take. I then got Resident Evil 2 Remake and it wasn't a good time when I started. It was one of those things where like I played 3 or 4 hours of it and then I fell off it and didn't get back to it. I liked it. I know I would like to play it. Like, I'm in a mood right now where I'd like to play it. I'm sure it's great. I know that's like one of everyone's favorite games. It's one of the 2 games everyone loves is Resident Evil 2 and 4. And then I played Resident Evil 7 about a year or 2 after it came out, I think. I don't know. I played Resident Evil 7 years ago. I love that game. I thought it was really, really good. And then I played Resident Evil 4 just the other week and beat that. So, weird mix of Resident Evil games. I played some of 2, but I've only beaten 3, 7, and 4. So I'm not like the biggest Resident Evil buff. I would like to go back and play more of these. In fact, I have Resident Evil Village downloaded and ready to go as well. So I'll be playing a lot more Resident Evil, but I feel like this game, even though Resident Evil 3 is my favorite because I just thought it was like the perfect length, the perfect bite-sized experience, really well-paced, really tense, really fun. Even though I feel that way, I feel like this game, because of its narrative and everything, is the game that made me go from like Resident Evil appreciator to Resident Evil fan. Like, consider me to be a fan of Resident Evil now, especially after my experience playing this game. It is still a goofy-ass Japanese game. I heard David Jaffe, the God of War creator, lovingly refer to Resident Evil as like the horror version of Fast and Furious, and I actually thought that was a really apt way to compare these games, because they are ridiculous, they are over the top, and they have become more and more like action games, but they're fun as hell. And if you like this kind of stuff, you're gonna have a great time. Like, if you want dumb, schlocky, fun horror action, Resident Evil is such a great series. And another thing I took away from this game, I'm all over the place now. Another thing I took away from this game is, an expanded view on what I said after I played Resident Evil 4 the other week, which is, I feel like Resident Evil in a way is kind of largely responsible for this single player narrative thing, like boner that PlayStation has. I'm like, because when I play like Resident Evil 4 remake or something, I'm like, this just kind of feels like a Japanese version of like God of War, The Last of Us, Uncharted. And I'm like, it's so narrative driven, it's so production heavy, it's this like tight 12, 14 hour single player experience. I'm like, why is Capcom able to make one of these games every 2 to 3 years for a reasonable budget and make money off of them, but PlayStation can't make a goddamn game in under 7 years without it going $600 million over budget and then being like a total financial remember those reports where they're like, Spider-Man 2 underperformed financially. It's like, what the fuck do you want? It sold like 20 million copies. What do you want? And it's like somehow Capcom makes it work, making Resident Evil games left and right and releasing them and selling well and making money and justifying that development cycle, but it's just so weird how so many Western developers aren't able to do the same. But that being said, let me try to speak to this game a little bit without spoiling it, because I really do want to be respectful. As many people who've paid even a remote amount of attention know, you play as 2 people in this game. Grace is the new character. She's the female protagonist you play as for about half the game. The other half of the game, you're playing as Leon Kennedy, which is the returning character from Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 6, and he's, of course, a fan favorite. He's the hottie with the naughty body that female players love, and gay players too. And he's great. He's excellent in this return. I will say, I heard people be like, oh, you play as them about 50-50 each. Well, so they're kind of different, because Grace, you can play her in third person, but the game suggests you play her in first person. Her sections of the game are very much like new Resident Evil, like Resident Evil 7 and 8, where you play in first person, you're kind of, strapped for ammo, and you're a little defenseless, and you're kind of running and hiding and escaping and puzzle solving and in navigating your way through these like precarious situations. Whereas when you play as Leon, it's a third-person, over-the-shoulder shooter game, and you got tons of ammo. You got rocket launchers and machine guns and shotguns and one-shot pistols and grenades, and you're just like blasting zombies in their fucking faces left and right like you do in Resident Evil 4. And so it's the best of both worlds, where it's like peak Resident Evil as a third-person action game and peak Resident Evil as a horrifying first-person survival horror game. And so, in theory, it's really great. The marriage of these two things together, the best of both worlds. The thing is, I kind of was under the impression, based on what people were saying, that it would be like, oh, you play as Grace for an hour, then you play as Leon for an hour, then you play as Grace for an hour, then you play as Leon for an hour. But you do play as both these characters about an equal amount of time, about 50-50. But the way it works is not how you expect. It's like, you play as Grace for an hour, then you play as Leon for 5 minutes, then you play as Grace for 3 hours, then you play as Leon for 5 minutes, then you play as Grace for 30 minutes, then you play as Leon for 3 hours. It's like it's like back and forth, like Halo 2, Halo 5 kind of thing. But, it's like, hey, the people give Halo 5 shit because it's like only 3 or 4 of the missions in Halo 5 you play as Blue Team. The rest of the game you play as Fire Team Osiris. It's like, well, in this game, it's like a crazy disproportionate amount as this character, then a crazy disproportionate amount as that character. But in any case, I don't personally have a problem with it, but it threw me off because during the first half of the game, I felt like I was playing as Grace so much that I was like, this is kind of nonsense. It's like, when do I play as Leon again? I was always curious about that. And it wasn't until like past the halfway point that I realized like kind of how the setup was. But that being said, Grace's parts are really good. I prefer Leon's parts because even though I like the first person horror stuff, I really liked Resident Evil 7 a lot. I just felt like her segment in particular in the earlier hours of the game, for some reason, that first long environment you're in, that care center, I thought was pretty, it was very tonally on point for Resident Evil, but I was so eager to get out of it because I was so curious about where the narrative went. So it's kind of a hard thing to say. It's like the game was really good, but I was just eager to get past that long part in the beginning because I was really curious to see where things would go. So I feel like if I started a second playthrough, I would really enjoy that first half a lot more now knowing what happens. But I don't have time to jump into a second run because I got to move on to Toxic Commando. But that being said, I really love this game. I think the parts with Leon towards especially the latter half of the game are actually fucking amazing. It feels like what if Resident Evil like went into like a soft Metroidvania kind of deal. In fact, both of them, there's one section of Grace. There's one section as Grace and there's one section as Leon where you play as like 3 hours in that section. And in each instance, it's like both Grace and Leon sections in those like 3 hour stretches feel kind of like Metroidvanias more than any other Resident Evil game really has, where it's like, here's a semi-open map area, explore, start here, can't go there yet, got to find that key, backtrack here, grab that thing, unlock that item, go back here, get that item to do that thing, and you kind of piece the puzzle together. And then when it's not those sections, it's otherwise a very, very, very linear experience. Even the quote-unquote Metroidvania sections are very linear. After all, it is Resident Evil, but I just really loved this game. And then I want to talk about the ending so bad. Obviously, I won't. But I will just say this as vaguely as I can. The end of the game does a video game trope that I traditionally, really, really despise and view as lazy and a cop-out. But I think this game probably does it better than any game I've ever played that does this thing at the end of the game. So I was very satisfied and I felt very complete with the way this game ends based on the way they handle this thing. So I'll just leave it at that. But this game is just really, really good. I feel like if you approach the way I approach Resident Evil is I don't take the story too seriously. I don't, this isn't The Last of Us. It's not going to be like a moving picture of a video game. It is an action movie more than anything. So if you're in it for it to be slightly stupid, but a lot of fun, a little scary, really tonally perfect, but just a really fun game, I think this game does an excellent job of just being a really, really great 11-hour action movie. But if you're expecting it to blow you away and be a narrative like masterpiece, then I don't know why you came to a Japanese game for it to be that, but good. I don't know. You're going to be disappointed, I guess. But anyway, Resident Evil Requiem is just very, very excellent. Oh, and the thing I didn't mention this whole time is I played this game on Nintendo Switch 2. I did not play it on Xbox. Right now, I'm kind of hesitant to buy and play games on Xbox because I'm a little frustrated with them, and I kind of don't believe my library will carry over anywhere. So the prospect of like these new games, these new AAA third-party games being released and supported on Switch 2 day one, it's just really exciting, and I'm really having a lot of fun playing games like Resident Evil Requiem day one on Switch 2 when it's also coming out on PlayStation 5. That's crazy. The game looks and runs incredible on the Switch 2. The frame rate is mostly 60 FPS, but sometimes it drops to like 45 or whatever. But it works very, very well. I loved playing it. A little bit handheld, a little bit docked mode. And just being like, I can't believe I'm playing like the latest and greatest game out there, but it's on the Switch and it's not a Nintendo game. Like, that was a cool feeling. I'm always waiting for Nintendo to feel that way. I feel like Nintendo hasn't really felt that way since like the GameCube. So that's fucking cool. So I'm looking forward to playing more, especially like Japanese, big Japanese releases on the Switch. So I'm like, I might get Pragmata on the Switch 2 as well. Like, it's just, I don't know, there's something fun about that, like supporting big Japanese releases on your Nintendo platform, and then games like Toxic Commando I'll just buy on Steam, because right now, unless it's like Halo, Forza, Fable, I kind of don't feel comfortable buying my games on Xbox, because I just, I don't know, I feel like Xbox so desperately doesn't want me to buy my games on Xbox, so I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should show some more respect to Satya Nadella and not give him money. I don't know. But anyway, that's Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I could go on a lot longer about it, but again, trying to keep it spoiler free and be respectful. But God, if you've ever enjoyed Resident Evil at all, I highly recommend this game. I still think I prefer Resident Evil 3. It's still my favorite one. But like, again, this is just it's a very memorable, very fun experience. The journey is a great time, and I feel like by the time the credits roll, it's like, wow, that was the most fun I've had with the video game in a while, like with a narrative-driven single-player experience in a while. And I will say, not that I've played too many games so far this year. We're still early on. We're only like really 2 months in. But Resident Evil Requiem is definitely, so far, my game of 2026. Probably will change with the remaining, 9.5 months we have. But so far, yeah, that game's at the top. All right, guys. I'm also playing Mini Shoot Adventures. This is a game that just came to Xbox and Switch. It is I think I talked about it a little bit last week. It's like, what if The Legend of Zelda was a twin-stick space shooter? And it's really cute. It's really fun. I'm only like an hour and a half in, and I just don't have anything really to say about it right now. So maybe next week we can talk about it some more. I don't want to bore you when I don't really have anything I feel like saying about it. But really my plan, again, like I said, starting tomorrow, get home from work, I'm playing some Toxic Commando. I'm very excited to check this game out. I really, really hope it doesn't disappoint, but we'll see. For $40, I'm feeling good about it. So that's it for what I've been playing. You guys, let's get to the final section of the podcast, the wrap up, the comments, the shout outs, youtube.com/Xbox on podcast. Click on the latest episode. Say whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. It's a free country, but if you offend the president, he might sue you, because we only like freedom of speech when it's the things he tells us we want to hear, because we don't have free minds. We just vote for the teams we like. I don't care if the New England Patriots are all pedophiles. They're the football team I committed to when I was 7 years old, and therefore they will always be the best football team, and you can't change my mind. What's that quote from Sunny in Philadelphia? One of my favorite lines from Sunny in Philadelphia is when Mac is like, he's like, I'm dug in. He's like, I can't he's like, I don't want to change my mind. In fact, I won't change my mind. I don't have to. I'm dug in. Man, I'm not doing it justice. Let's move on. Anyway, comments. We only got like 5 left to go through. We already started with that first one from earlier. So let's round out with these 5 comments, starting with Cronky, who says, I keep hearing that the games industry is struggling due to things like TikTok. Did we speedrun a copycat of the film industry? Are games now where movies are? I guess. I mean, it's the attention economy. It's what's affecting everything, really. I mean, you got to think about it. It's like everything is vying for your attention. You think about when we were kids, Cronky, it's like, I mean, fucking, dude, summer vacation was like, you got to think about it. It's like when you were in like 5th, 6th grade as a kid and it was summer vacation, you were lucky if you kept in contact with like 2 or 3 people from school. Like maybe your 2 best friends and the neighbor that you had math class with or something. It's like, that was like your whole social life. And it was like, okay, I got my Game Boy Advance, I got my PS2, and then it's like, today mom's going to make me go in the garden, and then Sunday I'm going to go to church, but after church we're going to hang out with these family friends, and I like their kid, and I'll play with him, we'll hang out, whatever. And then the next day I'll play video games until my mom makes me do something else. And it's like, you just think about like life as a kid, and it was always just like, you're always looking for opportunities to do things. Like, what do I have to look forward to? Oh, if I go to church, I'll see my friend. Oh, if I, after I do my chores, I can play video games. Oh, I want to watch TV. Oh, I want to do this. And it was like, you're always looking for a reason, something to look forward to, some reason to exist. But I don't know. I just think about like, imagine a kid today on summer vacation. It's like, you can keep in touch with every fucking kid in your school. You can keep in touch with every kid in the school district in the town over from you. You can look at every boobie on the internet. You can learn every skateboard trick that you're not going to perform on the internet. You can watch every episode of The Office. You can see every movie that's in theater illegally. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can spend 3,000 hours on Fortnite. It's just the world is your oyster and you're endlessly connected to everything. And the thing is, it's like social media, this needs to be said, everyone knows. It's so especially addicting because it is this tool that is constantly telling you, hey, whatever you're interested in or whatever you want to do or whatever you like right now, that's cool. But just remember, that comes secondary to this other thing that I'm going to show you. Because what I'm about to show you is what everyone else is doing. And you're going to feel like you're really missing out on life right now and you're really falling behind if you're not in the know about this thing. It's like, here's Cynthia, who we haven't spoken to in 8 years. She's backpacking through Europe right now. It's like, thanks, social media. It's like, hey, here's a new meme. Just keep scrolling through these. They might make you feel something if you read enough of them. Oh, here's YouTube shorts or TikToks. I guess you're just going to watch people angrily rant to their cell phones while they sit in their cars or something, because for some reason that's a thing children do instead of like play video games and watch Spider-Man now. I don't know, but I just think it's that everything is vying for attention, because when I was a kid, my whole concept of free time and fun was like, go to a friend's house, play a video game, watch a TV show, watch a movie, ride a bike, ride a skateboard. I don't know, like grab the home video camera and try to make a movie or something, play a video game, play a Game Boy, play a PlayStation, beg your parents to go to Blockbuster, beg your parents to go to Target, beg your parents to go to Walmart, beg your parents to let you sleep over with your friend next door. That was always like childhood. But now it's like, I don't know, man. Like I thought this was something that was kind of specific to my generation. Now I'm realizing this is probably something everyone deals with now, where it's like kids today probably don't even want to do sleepovers. Like, no, I just want to stay in my room and just doom scroll on my phone all day. Like, so yeah, that's a long-winded way of saying I think the games industry is struggling due to things like TikTok. I think everything is struggling due to things like TikTok. Like, I don't know, the other day, like my girlfriend and I are considering possibly doing a cruise to Alaska to celebrate our anniversary. And, she's not like really big on a lot of cruise lines because she doesn't like how a lot of cruise lines are all into like drinking and partying and staying up late and dancing to top 40 music. So I'm trying to show her some of the cruise lines that are like a little more geared towards adults and a little less, party focused and things like that. So we're watching these YouTube videos. I'm like, well, let me show you a YouTube video about this cruise line and that cruise line. And while she's super engaged because she really wants to go to Alaska, she really wants to see the glaciers and the fucking whales and shit. Every 2 seconds, she's looking down on her phone. She's like, oh, phone. I'm like, damn, dude, it's just, that's the world. Like, not to sell her out or anything, but like, that's the world. Like, I'm talking to my coworker today. I'm like, hey guys, real important. I really want to make you aware of something. I'm talking to my coworker, and like my coworker's got like one ear turned to me and his face in his phone. He's like scrolling, doing a thing. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, even if you are listening, I don't know that because you've got your fucking face in your phone. And like, and it's not to say I'm perfect. Like, I do that shit too, man. Like, I'm like playing Resident Evil Requiem, and in my mind, I'm going, this is such an amazing game. I love this game. And then I press pause after 45 minutes of playing the game, and I just look down at my phone. I'm like, oh, so-and-so texted me. Reply to text. Oh, I got a notification about this baseball thing. Read that. Look at some stats for a player you never thought about. Click on, YouTube notification. Watch 7 YouTube shorts. Check your messages again. You already replied to your message. No need to do that. Before you know it, it's like, I've been on my phone for 20 minutes. What am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm playing Resident Evil. It's like, we all got by this. It's a thing that's infecting us all. And I don't know, man. It's like, on the one hand, I hate that corporations are like, oh, we're not in competition with Nintendo and PlayStation. We're in competition with TikTok. It's like, shut up, dude. Go fucking make a better video game console and stop bitching. But they're not wrong to say these things because it is true. This whole like conversation about the attention economy and how everything's vying for your attention all the time, and you can't fucking go buy a box of Cheez-Its from Walmart without them trying to get you to scan a QR code and sign up so they can collect more of your data and sell it off. It's just the world we live in, and I just think that it has become a struggle for everything. Like, no one wants to read a book ever anymore. Never again. No more books. But people also don't want to go to the movie theaters, kinda, except sometimes, but usually not. And video games are the most profitable form of entertainment, except everyone's getting fired from video games unless you're Fortnite Freddy. Then you make the money and everyone else gets to fucking lose their job. I don't understand how it works. I just know it is a problem and we are all fucked. And Cronky, I got nothing else to say, so I'll move on. All right, Woke Dead Captain James writes in and says, I'm getting ready to move and sell the house this summer. Well, congrats to you guys. Hopefully that's a good thing. So I don't really have much time for gaming right now, but I have been playing through Hogwarts Legacy on my ROG Ally again. Man, that game is almost perfection. Well, don't leave us hanging, Woke or Dead Captain James. Why is it almost perfection? What's not perfect about Hogwarts Legacy? Please tell us. I would like to get back to that game. I bought it when it came out out of support for Avalanche. I played like 5 hours. I was like, this is cool. And then I just like didn't play it. I feel like I would probably like the game if I forced myself to play it, but Dead Captain James, you're being a tease. Let us know why it's so great. All right. 360 Bro YouTube writes in and says, I'd be right there with you if I could. Balls deep in Xbox. Platonically, shoulder to shoulder. I just had to snap out of the Stockholm Syndrome at some point. On the bright side, Resident Evil Requiem is wicked, and now I'm getting hyped for Pragmata. Crimson Desert looks cool considering jumping into Marathon. Plenty to play. Yeah, man. Absolutely plenty to play. I think you were talking about jumping to PC last week, and that's where that comment comes from. But yeah, man, I get it, man. I'm kind of like halfway there with you right now, because like I feel like the past month or so I've just been, I'll just play everything on Switch and PC. I don't really feel like touching the Xbox unless absolutely necessary. And every time I beat a game, my girlfriend's like, are you finally going to play Fable? Because she's all obsessed with Fable right now because she just played through the series for the first time. And I'm like, yeah, I know I said I was going to play Fable, but like, I don't want to touch my Xbox. I just want to go like touch some, I want to let off some steam, if you know what I'm saying. I want to switch it up. I want to let off some steam, maybe, you know what I'm saying? No more Xbox. I don't know, but I'm kind of there with you. But yeah, Requiem got me a little hyped for Pragmata as well. And Crimson Desert, I need to rewatch some trailers. I barely remember anything about it based on it, but I know people are excited. And I almost caved and bought Marathon this week because I keep telling myself, I'm like, if I give it some more time, I think I'll like this game. I didn't give it a fair shake. But Toxic Commando is getting my attention instead, so maybe some other time. But, oh man, I can't wait for that game. All right, Mr. Malg writes in with the next comment and says, I'm a little offended that you didn't like White Castle. I love getting the jalapeno cheese sliders from there. It's funny you say that, bro, because I almost tried those. I was very curious about them. Anyway, you said, I'm now going to ignore your advice and DM Asha Sharma to go on a White Castle date with me. Maybe she'll even show me Project Helix. Mr. Malg, I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but I will ask this. If you ask out Asha Sharma, please, for the love of fucking Christ, let us know how it goes. Because apparently she's way too engaged with the Xbox fandom. So if she gives you a reply, I'd be just insanely curious to see how that goes. Something tells me she's not going to go to White Castle with you. But as I said at the top of the show, I have been a little pessimistic lately. And I don't want to rain on your parade. So I'm going to encourage you to do what you feel like you got to do. And then just kindly request that you let us know how that goes for you. Also, I have it on good authority that Asha Sharma is a Crystals girl. She's not a White Castle fan, so good luck getting her to go there. Just saying. Decoy Doctopus writes in with the final comment and says, Resident Evil 5 at least feels and plays like a Resident Evil game, whereas Resident Evil 6 plays like a generic action game. By the way, Asha is only 37. The fact that Asha Sharma is like 6 or 7 years older than I am makes me feel incredibly fucking unaccomplished. I'm a middle manager and she's the CEO of gaming. That's crazy. Good for her, dude. That's awesome. She's got plenty of years left in her to serve at the altar of Xbox. Although something tells me she probably won't be there for more than 2 or 3 years. Anyway, Mr. Maug and Decoy Doctopus, thank you guys for writing in. I've heard that about Resident Evil 5, by the way. That 5 is like action-y but good, and then 6 is like action-y but bad. It's like basically just full-blown Gears of War knockoff. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll play them. I don't really care. Maybe when they get remade or something. I would like to play Resident Evil 1, 2, 3 again. And then, let's see. And then Resident Evil 8. So I'd like to get to those ones. And then the rumor is they're also remaking X and Code Veronica, which I'll play. The rumors, they're also bringing all these new Resident Evil remakes over to Switch too. So if that's what they're going to do, I'm just going to make Resident Evil a Nintendo Switch game for me and just keep playing them all over there. But anyway, I'll shut up now. This is almost a Nintendo podcast at this point. I swear to God, it's going to be a PC Nintendo console podcast. If Xbox keeps this shit up, this we'll call it. The podcast will be called PC on my Switch or Switch on my PC. There you go, a Nintendo PC podcast. Switch on my PC, and then the podcast will start. I'll be like, oh. My PC's off. Let me switch it on. And then it'll make the bleep sound that like a switch makes when you turn it on. And then you'll just hear like the loud fan on my PC start roaring. And that'll be the intro sound, dude. It'll be so fucking sick. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for writing in. I appreciate you all. Hope you have a great week ahead. I know times are tough. I know things are rough. But when the going gets tough, the Xbox gets turned on. I don't fucking know. I just hope you guys are good. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who support the show and listen. And I hope you have a good week. So, yeah, with that said, I got to go rest my voice, edit this bad boy. And, dude, I'm just go to bed, go to work, come home. I don't know who this John Carpenter guy is, but if he's gonna toxicify all of the commando, I'm all for it. So let's fucking go. I'm excited to see if any of you guys are playing that. Let me know your experiences if that's the case. And until next week, power your motherfucking dreams.